Hey, what's up guys? Thomas Alex Norman here, and in this video, I'm gonna give you 3 tips to truly be yourself on camera. Stick around to the end of this video because I'm gonna be giving you a bonus hack on becoming less self-conscious on camera. And with that said, let's get into tip number 1. Okay, the first tip is to work on being more vulnerable. Now, maybe that's not the first thing you expected. You want to become more confident, more extroverted, more charismatic. However, there's no point in doing any of these things unless you first connect with yourself, because otherwise your audience will not be able to connect with you. Being vulnerable is one of the best ways to do this. Now, let me read you a quick quote from the probably #1 expert on vulnerability in the world, Brené Brown. She says, "Vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's our greatest measure of courage." So to be vulnerable isn't necessarily just admitting your weaknesses and saying, "Oh, right now I feel really nervous talking to you guys on camera," although that's an aspect of vulnerability. Vulnerability could also be, for example, admitting your strengths or admitting something that you're confident in. A lot of us might be quite scared of being judged, of being seen as arrogant or cocky. If we say something like, "Right now I'm feeling pretty good at talking to camera and I feel like this delivery is really on point and coming across well." So in that sense, I'm actually also being vulnerable because I'm willing to put myself out there and I'm willing to accept your judgment. If you think I'm cocky, or if you think I'm weak, or you think I'm whatever you're gonna think. You can't control other people's judgments of you. You can only control how much you show up as yourself. So that should be your measure of progress as we get into these next 2 or 3 tips, is use your level of connectedness with yourself and your ability to show up as who you are as your indicator of progress. I'd really appreciate it if you comment below and tell me how you might become more vulnerable on camera. Tell me what you might talk about to tap into your sense of vulnerability and the sense of you being able to show up and be seen on camera. What would you talk about? Tip 2 is simple repetition and practice. The more you repeat this, the more you get used to talking on camera, inside, outside, wherever that might be, the less self-conscious you're going to become, the less sensitive you're going to become. So when you first talk to camera, you might be hyper-aware, super sensitive, super self-conscious about how you're coming across. When you watch that first video back, you might get quite sensitive about how you sound or how you look. The more you do this, the less you care. The more that sensitivity kind of numbs in a positive way, and you become able to just talk without being self-conscious and with a clear focus on what you're trying to communicate and what you're trying to say. Because in a sense, that is the end goal with this. If you get rid of all self-consciousness, you can truly be present, you can flow, you can think of new ideas on the spot, you can deliver a script effectively and authentically. If you're self-conscious, you are paralyzed and you are in a state of not knowing how you sound, not knowing how you look. You're essentially cut off from your brain, because your brain is all of the RAM, if you want to take a computer analogy, is focused on how you look and how you sound rather than what you actually want to say. So the more you repeat this, the less self-conscious you're going to become, the more effectively you can communicate. A quick note here is momentum. Momentum is definitely a thing with this. If you talk to camera every day for 30 days or 60 days, by the mid or end of that period, you're going to have a ton of momentum, even within that small space of time. However, if you talk to camera once a month for 3 years, you might not actually be as good as if you did it every day for 30 days. So momentum is a real thing here, and you can take advantage of it very effectively. Tip number 3 is the strategy. It's the course correction. As we are repeating this process with the intention of showing up as ourselves, it's a really important practice to be aware when you're making your videos, how you feel. So when you're filming, tapping into that sense of, does this feel like me? Do I feel grounded? Do I feel present? Does this feel right? It's a great indicator. And another thing is when you're watching your videos back, it's really important not to get too over-analytical or too philosophical when you're looking at your micro mannerisms and thinking, oh, when I make my videos, I scratch my nose too much. Or I don't like the way my voice always does this at the end of every sentence when I'm making my videos. those things, yeah, those are annoyances that we can get rid of with practice, but maintaining an overall sense of your level of authenticity when you're watching your videos back, it's more of a feeling. You're kind of feeling yourself out. Like in this video, how was I? Was I really me? I was getting there. I saw something, I saw a spark, I saw something come through for that 30-second period when I was smiling more. Maybe I'm gonna lean into that in the next video. Or maybe, yeah, when I was explaining that point that was really in detail, I sensed myself just kind of going into robot mode and just delivering the information rather than maintaining a sense of contact with myself. So becoming more strategic as we're going through this repetitive process is a really useful tool, and it's one of the keys to actually make a transformation. Okay, so that bonus tip I was talking about at the beginning is when you're filming yourself, especially on a phone, your instinct is going to be to record yourself like this and have the screen facing you. Most of the time, if you're just starting out especially, your instinct is just going to be to look at your own face. What does that equal? Self-consciousness to the max. It's like the definition of self-consciousness. You're just looking at your own face whilst you're talking. So a great tip is obviously to look at the camera, not yourself. Okay, I'm maintaining contact with the camera, but I'm still distracting myself, especially when I'm starting out. So easy tip to become less self-conscious when you are filming yourself on your phone or your camera. If your camera, just flip the screen away from you. On your phone, just film with the back-facing camera. Not only will you get better quality, but you're also going to be way less self-conscious as an automatic thing because all you can see is the lens, so you can just focus on what you're delivering. With that said, guys, feel free to download the free cheat sheet PDF, which is in the description. There you will find a one-pager that you can print out and use as a reference when you are talking to camera. So you can literally have it on your wall beside you, set up your camera, and get some really good delivery tips, more practical stuff that's going to help you talk to camera better. All right, guys, until next time, keep filming, stay creative. Bye-bye.